Hello out there, it's my pleasure being with you once again on another beautiful edition of the program, Family Circle. If you're just tuning in, you're onto the services of Plateau Radio Television Corporation. My name is Susan Omaru. I'm your presenter today. Well, as usual, Family Circle team goes round with their searchlight and look for something that is quite important and really troubling to the family that we want to tackle out and make the family a peaceful place for everybody to coexist. Today is not an exception. We have gone round. And something that has been bothering the society is what we're going to be talking about today. And it's all about drug abuse. And today's angle is being focused on criminality and drug abuse. Well, this and many more are what we'll be talking about on today's edition of the program. I'm not alone as usual. I have authorities in their capacity to talk about this particular topic. Today with me is the Deputy Commander of Narcotics, NDLEA, Plateau State Command, in person of Mrs. Grace Goyal. Ma'am, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
And also I have with me, he is a regular, one who is always on the case of people suffering or going through issues with drug abuse. He has a foundation. He is the founder of Dastu Rangley Foundation, in person of Reverend CP Dastu, CSP Dastu Rangley. Sir, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, once again, the program is Family Circle, and today we'll be talking about criminality in drug abuse. Well, to set the ball rolling, ma'am, we want to start with you. Can you briefly tell us what drug abuse is all about?
Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to define drug abuse as the use of any substance in a way that deviates the manner that is acceptable in the society. The medical pattern, the abnormal way of using it, it is not accepted as the medical pattern that is accepted in the society. This is when you see people abusing drugs in an overdose level or underdose level. You have people that use drugs that it is not medically prescribed. And once a person uses a drug that is not prescribed by a medical personnel, then it is drug abuse.
Okay. All right, Mr. Rangley, you want to add up to what she has said?
Similar to what she has just said, drug abuse is an act of self-medication without the prescription of a medical practitioner. And sometimes, even if it is prescribed by a medical practitioner and the dosage is not followed according to what the doctor prescribes, it is equally drug abuse.
Okay. Some people, or is it some people? I would say generally, there are some drugs that people just take even without the prescription of the doctor, especially the paracetamols and or whatnot. Are there particular drugs that it's a no-no that people should not take that can easily be regarded to as drug abuse or using it for a particular reason? Are there such drugs available? If there are, can we get to hear them?
Meanwhile, you see, when we talk about drug abuse as per the definition, it is expected that if you are sick, go and then get a prescription from a doctor. Let a doctor certify you that you are sick and this is your problem. And then the doctor will be able to advise you that this is the drug that you need to take. But in situation that you are sick, you just take 20 naira, 30 naira, 50 naira, give somebody to go and buy a particular drug and bring to you, or buy a herbs, or you just begin to do some other self-medication without the consent or prescription of a medical practitioner, basically is wrong. There is no any drug that one can say that this is the drug that is exempted on this.
Okay, all right. Going back to our main topic for today, criminality in drug abuse. Ma'am, can you tell us the relationship between drugs and crime itself?
Okay. You see, in every society, we've come to realize that any crime that is committed, it is perpetrated under the use of drugs. Most social vices, are we talking about political thuggery? Are we talking about social deviance like cultism, kidnapping, education retardation? Most of the vices, once you check it, there's use of drug. Drug is a catalyst to any criminal activity. It has gotten so bad that most criminals now, like the kidnapping and all that, you see sometimes the ransom, they don't even ask for money. It is not the monetary aspect of it. They actually want you to supply drugs. Most of the drugs, I can give an example. You see the synthetic opiate that is known as tramadol. Most people, and unfortunately, you see, for the okay, like our mothers in the local governments, most of them that farm. You see, opiate, the tramadol is a synthetic opiate, and it increases energy. It is a stimulant. And you see most of them that farm, you see people supplying them with this tramadol. And they take it, and when they take it, they see that it relieves them from pains and all that. Then they indulge it. It is when they start experiencing the withdrawal that they know that there's an issue with it. Most of the banditry, the kidnapping, in fact, radicalization, or anything that you see that has crime in it, drugs are involved in it.
Well, in this capacity, I'm sure there must be a reason why they go hand in hand.
Yes.
What have you been able to identify is the reason why drugs has to be taken for crime to be perpetrated in a particular situation?
You see, for most of the people that commit crime, they need that courage. And once they take these drugs, there's no inhibition. Once you take these drugs, you can perpetrate all sorts of evil acts without emotions. So most of them, they need that. They forget the fact that once you take these drugs, it gets to a tolerance level, a level that you must increase your dose. And once you start increasing the dose, it starts affecting you emotionally and physically. That once you don't take these drugs, it reaches a point that you're taking these drugs, it is not because of the pleasure anymore. You're taking it so that you avoid the withdrawal that will set in.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to say something, I guess?
Yes, in line with what she has said, taking of drug, how it is related to crime issue. It makes, when they take the drug, it gives them false perspective. Now, they know that this thing is wrong. They know that armed robbery is wrong, kidnapping is wrong. They know it. But once someone is under the influence of drugs, you will discover that it will give you false perspective. You will not look at it as this thing that you are doing is wrong. And then the issue of the pain relief drug addiction. When they take like tramadol, in situation that they are caught, if they beat them because they have taken the tramadol, they will not feel the pain. So it gives them that audacity to go into taking drugs before they go. It makes them to be agile. It makes them to be high. It removes fear. It removes fear. They will not be afraid of anybody, even if it is a general that comes with the whole armored division. They will not be afraid. They will say they are on top of the situation.
Oh, all right. Well, if you're just tuning in, the program is Family Circle, and today we're focusing on criminality in drug abuse. And with me here, we have a personnel from the NDLEA Plateau State Command in person of Mrs. Grace Goyol. She is the Deputy Commander. And also, I have with me Reverend
CSP.
CSP, Dastu Foundation. He is also here talking to us about this particular topic. Sir, you have a foundation, and of course, you have number of clients that are there. Based on the census, I know that a lot of them are youths. Why are youths indulging in taking drugs, not the other way around, knowing that, okay, maybe the older ones, I'm sure they take the drugs too, but I guess the youths are more into it. Why is it so? Since you have a one-on-one relationship with them.
Yeah, it is very true that youths are mostly engaged in it, even though we have the other parts, the adults, and even the teenage, they're into it. Because I discover in my practice in Dastu Foundation, I discover that even from primary two, I have seen some of the children at that age, they indulge in drugs. Why it is very serious at the youthful age is because it is related with peer group. They want to belong to a group so that they can perform, they can act, they can go anywhere. They can take it to make them to belong to that very group. If you don't take it, you will not belong to that very group. And another thing is that laziness comes in. If someone is lazy, you don't have anything to do that you can support yourself. So because they don't have anything, they are lazy, they are
They're
idle.
idle.
Because of the idleness, they will go into taking these drugs, and then they want to get something but they don't have. So when they go into the drug, it makes them to get what they want to get, either by force or by crook. So it is that drug that will make them to get that very thing without any fear, as we have said before. So most of them, they want to be high, with the youthful exuberance. They want to reach a certain place that it is not up to, they are not supposed to go. So if they don't take it, they will not go. And if they are shy, they will not do it. So it makes them to go into all these things. So lack of employment is part of the thing. It makes them to go mostly into that because they are idle. They don't have anything to do.
Okay, in situation whereby there are people that are actually working, especially the adults, the matured people,
Yes.
but they're into drugs too.
Yeah.
How would you balance the situation?
Yes, you see, something about drug is that once you have started, even before you are employed, by the time that you are used to it, even if after employment, you can still continue with the drugs.
Okay.
It is very easy to go into drugs, and to withdraw is another problem. Then some people, you will discover that before their employment, they have not been taking drugs. But after employment, they go into it. It has to do with influence of friends.
Okay.
Influence of friends, they want to belong into to fit into a system. So if they don't go, like if I am not taking and someone is taking and he is my friend, to escort him into to such areas, I cannot just escort him to go and sit down without taking it. Certainly, I will look very negative. So if I go there, you will discover that little by little, the person will be influenced and start taking it.
Okay. All right. We'll still go back to that and know how to manage that situation and bring them out of it. Well, before we go on break, quickly, can you tell us? I can see that lately there are a lot of law enforcement agencies on the highway, even in streets, having checks, especially on drugs. And your organization in particular have been doing a wonderful job. I must commend you on that. Going to the point, has this check been able to checkmate the rate of crime in the society, and has it been able to crop or cut down the level of intake of drugs so far?
Okay. You see, I would want to, before I answer your question, I would want you to get in fact, the enormity of this drug abuse. the United Nations Office of Drug and Crime, in their survey in 2018, they stated that about 14.3 million youths between the age of 15 and 65 are abusing drugs in Nigeria. That's aside from tobacco and then alcohol. And it is increasing. And NDLE, with the mandate that is given, we have to curb these excesses. And how do we do that? We do that in two ways. There are two aspects that NDLE handle these issues. It is the interdiction aspect, the supply reduction units, and then the drug demand units. The drug supply reduction unit, it entails officers intercepting these drugs at interdiction points.
Okay.
Where you arrest suppliers, dealers of these psychotropic and narcotic substances. You go to the airports, you go to the ports, and you make these seizures. And at this aspect, at this phase, it is looked upon as the criminal aspect. Then you go to the drug demand reduction unit. The drug demand reduction unit is actually my unit. It is a mandate that creates awareness on the populace, on the dangers of these drugs. You create awareness, you go around. You see, my office, I go to churches, I go to mosques, I go to schools to let them be aware of the dangers of these drugs, these psychotropic drugs. And then for most people, I'll use this opportunity to let them know that NDLA, it is not just the arrest aspect that we deal with. We actually have a rehabilitation center.
Okay.
But most people are not aware of it. That is why the chairman chief executive has, in fact, a brain child initiative that is known as WADA, War Against Drug Abuse.
Okay, before we step into the water, let's take a short break right now, and we want to give sensitization on what drug abuse it's all about and what damage it's doing to the society. And of course, NDLEA are here to also sensitize us on that. Let's take this message. Don't go away.
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well-dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was seeing things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
All right, you're welcome back to the program. That was a short commercial on what NDLEA are doing on the issue of drug abuse. Well, before the short break, we're talking about what your department is actually doing, and you were about to tell us what WADA is all about.
Yes. I was talking about the supply and then the drug demand reduction. From the supply unit, you see, I must commend the Plateau State Commander, Bello Umar Mustafa Yahuza. He actually, from last November, he was able to make a seizure of these psychotropic substances, about 2.535 tons of all these substances that includes cannabis, tramadol, codeine, cocaine, name it all. And then when it comes to the drug demand reduction unit, we've been able to sensitize so many schools we've sensitized mosques, we've sensitized schools, we've sensitized churches. And then it is now of importance that people know about the WADA initiative. The WADA initiative is War Against Drug Abuse. This initiative, it was found by His Excellency Mohammed Buhari on the 26th of June 2021, and it is initiated by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. This initiative is us coming out to tell people that NDLA cannot do it alone. All hands must be on deck. All the major stakeholders must come on board for us to fight this menace.
Okay.
So that at the end of the day, we stop the initiation of drugs for those that have not started taking drugs. And for those that have already started, we will let them know they should be aware there's their consequences. And for those that have already started, we want to give them hope and let them know that you have taken these drugs. Yes, it has messed up with your life, but you can reintegrate back into the society.
Okay, thank you very much, and we're happy to know that there's an initiative there that it's willing to help the society to be better. Well, going back to your foundation, I know that a lot of people are there and you've been giving them some kind of rehabilitation. What can you mention some few rehab therapies you give them to make them better?
Yeah, we have different kinds of therapy that we give them. We give them the psychotherapy. This one is the work of the clinical psychologist that will talk to them and then give them counseling, and then it helps them in that aspect. We equally have the medical aspect of rehabilitation. There are those that they need to go on medical treatment. That is to say, those that are already high, they have already gone deep into the substance abuse, and they have gone into psychosis. So when they have gone into psychosis, we call it bipolar. In that case, they are between madness and then they are not mad, they are in between.
Okay.
So in that case, they need medical attention. So we give them that one.
You invite medical personnel?
Yes,
or?
there are medical personnel
Okay.
that used to come and then see them.
Okay.
And then I equally have a clinic that is treating people like that, with that kind of a problem.
Okay.
And then we have detoxification. Detoxification, we have different kinds of detoxification. There is the one that is oral, and then there is the one that you use machine to drop, to expunge some of these toxic that has been caused into the body. These are few of the things that we do at Dastu Foundation.
All right. I'm really impressed that a lot of awareness programs are going on in different aspects so that we can bring out our youths, especially those mainly involved, I guess, are the youth, from these particular means so that we can have a better society. Well, before we finally go, let's take our last insert before we finally wrap up the show.
Please pay attention. It starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. You turn a blind eye and care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so unbothered as long as they pay. Say it's just business, all about the money. You know they're on a fast lane, but you've got business to run. So you look away the other way. It concerns you. It kill love, it kill dreams. It land people for jail. War against drug abuse.
Well, you're welcome back. Just to wrap up the show, can you just tell us one or two things you wanted to say to the family? Because I'm sure these people into drugs are coming from somewhere, and it's the family.
Yes.
Can you say one or two words to them?
Okay. I would want to let the families know that the youths that abuse these drugs, we should encourage them to seek help instead of stigmatizing them. There are families that when they have issues like that, they tend to hide it from the public. It
Okay.
is when it gets to a stage they cannot control that they seek for help.
All right.
We should encourage the youths to come out and seek for help
Okay.
without stigmatization.
All right, Mr. Rangley.
Yeah, I will encourage that parents should not be tired with those children that are into drugs. They should keep trying. One day it shall be over.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you very much, Reverend CSP Dastu Rangley Foundation, for being part of the program. And also to you, Mrs. Grace Goyo, the Deputy Commander of Narcotics, NDLEA, Plateau State Command. Thank you very much. Well, they've given us an insight of what drugs can do, especially if we indulge in it, and the damage it does to the society, especially looking at the criminal aspect of it. Well, there's always a penalty to all these aspects. But we can also be better. There are foundations that are there to rehabilitate those that are into it. And remember, charity begins from home. The parents should be there to encourage their children and never get tired and ensure that they are off it so that we can have a better society. Thank you for being part of the program. For the cameramen and those at the technical control room, they made this program a great success. Until next week, my name is Susan Omaru. Stay blessed.